Greetings. Elder Blacklight. This video we're going to be talking about solar panels. Now, regardless if the government collapses or whatever, regardless if there's no money, always remember that you got commodities that you could barter, always something you could barter. Then you could always pull your resources together in the churches, go to the warehouses, any warehouse you want to stock up. But it's always going to be a brother in the neighborhood with a big trailer truck, a diesel truck. Or, it's a lot of brothers that own their own diesel trucks. Or you might just have to rent U-Hauls or whatever to go, like in a caravan, to the farmlands, pick up your food. All them vacant lots, up north or up here in Michigan, when you got 4 seasons, you can only farm during the summer, but greenhouses, you know how to build them. I mean, it ain't no thing, man. You just gonna have to revamp everything, But we're gonna talk more about it. Let's get into this right here.
Hi everybody, it's Greg, and today I want to talk about my experiences with rooftop solar panels for homemade electricity. I've had a system up and running for over a year now, so I have a year's worth of experience and data to share with you. Incidentally, I'm using the Electrovoice RE50 NDB handheld microphone here, so you can evaluate the sound of this microphone. This is kind of a workhorse microphone. As you watch the news locally and nationally, a lot of times, look carefully, you're going to see that the reporters are using this model of microphone. So I think it has a nice smooth sound, great for this kind of environment. So let's talk about my solar panels. So I decided that I wanted to get into homemade electricity with solar panels on the roof of my house. And I found that a lot of the companies wouldn't give you a lot of information about it unless you gave them all of your contact information. They could have a salesperson either call you or come to the house to talk about solar power. So I was reluctant for quite a while. One day decided, I don't care. I'm going to I gave my contact information to like 4 different companies and said, all right, let's go for it. I want to do this. So the company that I went with, I just kind of hit it off with the salesperson that came by. I went with Vivint. So I'm not necessarily endorsing Vivint. I know that the other companies had very similar design plans, very similar financing plans.
Now, I just wanted to let you know that there are people, mostly white people. Black people don't really get off into stuff like this. We're going to talk about this. See, the problem with black people, they haven't, y'all my people, I know how y'all are. I've been around you for 72 years. And each generation get careless and careless, because when they come into the world, when you first come in, when you young and you come into the world and you think things have always been cool, you think, well, and then you look around, you say, you fall for the lie that the United States is the only place to be, you know, and that's all you know about, and that's all you want to know about. You don't want to know about other countries, you know, and you don't even want to know about your ancestors or your elders, how it was back when I was coming up. But see, I wasn't like that. I had a different kind of mind than most brothers and sisters, because the way I came up and my relatives and parents, you know. See this right here. This is my mother's registered book, dues book, where she was with the Nation of Islam. This book goes back to 1947. I was born in 1946. Actually, she was going to the meetings when I was in her, when I was in her stomach, when I was in her womb. You know, she was going to the meetings, and that knowledge of those teachers was filtering down, you know, into me, because she was digesting them. And she was digesting those teachings. And then when I was born, she continued on going. She might have took a little time off. But her one of her oldest brothers was a FOI. I think he was up in rank. He could have been like a lieutenant or a captain. And him and Malcolm X were close. And my mother eventually was working in one of the Muslims' restaurants, and Malcolm was too. And she got familiar with him and the whole family, Brother Filber, Wilbur, Omar, you know, the whole family. And also Elijah Muhammad's brother, Supreme Minister John Muhammad, my cousins and uncles and so forth, you know, associated with them. And all the Muslim brothers that was Temple number 1 here. So my mother stayed with him to the age of 7. She fell out. I'm not going to go into that right this time. With her brother and some of the other brothers in the temple, and I was 7 years old, and she went straight back to Christianity. Not at first, but eventually, and celebrating Christmas and all the holidays. Went back to drinking and whatever. And I went to public school, see. So I had a advanced knowledge of myself when I was going to public school or whatever. And I never did blend in. I was very popular though. And I had plenty women. But I was hanging around with the thugs and stuff. At one point, at a whole lot of points. I was hanging around with thugs. But anyway, my other 2 uncles were straight up hustlers, gangsters. One was a gangster and one was just a hustler. But he had he gangster too. And they wasn't Muslims though. That was their younger brother that was a Muslim. But my grandmother became a Muslim. and my mother's sister was Muslim. It's out of St. Louis, Missouri. And so anyway, make a long story short, I always had advanced knowledge, but I gained that street knowledge, and eventually I went back to school and graduated from Wayne County Community College. I was gonna go on to Wayne State, but I was a little old and had a family, and I had to make ends meet because actually I was in the music business real deep. I was real deep in the music, and you know, it was like a roller coaster ride with that music. But when I found out how the music industry was, really was, I ran away from it. And what they saying about it now is true. But I got a chance to meet a lot of Motown people who was in Motown, the Four Tops, Barrett Strong, you know, Don Davis, and Al Perkins, you know. So I always knew how to survive in the streets without a job. And then eventually I went back to attending meetings at the Nation of Islam and registered. I registered with two different branches. I registered with John Muhammad, Temple Number 1, and then I registered with Mosque Number 1, Dawood, and that was Minister Farrakhan's minister. Then I walked away from that. But I got a thorough knowledge of self. And you brothers and sisters, if you ever come across this video, I was also in the broadcasting business and met a whole lot of people from different parts of the country and different parts of the world in my radio show. I didn't work for the station. I had my own production company at that station. So I met Judge Mathis at this particular radio station owned by a black man named R.J. Watkins. Met him there. He might not remember that. But anyway, make a long story short, I'm qualified to give you some advice on how to survive and prepare yourself for this up and coming new world. You got to prepare yourself. If you're going to go to heaven, you got to prepare yourself to go to heaven. Y'all may think this might be something bad, that's coming up, but actually it might turn out to be in your favor. Black light.